Although the NES was my family's first video game console, we left Nintendo and switched to PlayStation during the 5th generation of consoles. My older brother really wanted to play Metal Gear Solid, so I grew up never experiencing some of Nintendo's best, like Ocarina of Time and Super Metroid. In 2006, my parents got me a Wii and a copy of Twilight Princess for Christmas. I then bought a copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee and spent hours reading the trophy descriptions. I became enamored by Nintendo's rich history. Now let's fast forward a bit to the year 2008. I'm in the middle of my adolescence, and I've become enthralled by retro video games. And thanks to the Virtual Console, I was now able to experience a lot of Nintendo games I missed out on. One of these games was the critically acclaimed Super Mario 64, a pioneer in the 3D platforming genre. I had beaten Super Mario Galaxy, and I wanted to experience the first 3D Mario game, so I used 1000 Wii points and bought myself Super Mario 64, and I was absolutely horrible at it. Mario's movement was stiff, I didn't understand how to control the wing cap, and the camera. Oh boy, the camera in Super Mario 64 has to be one of the worst in any video game. However, I didn't give up, and I kept playing. I eventually mastered Mario's movement controls, and the camera stopped giving me so much trouble. When I finally beat the game, I understood why everyone loved it. The game just has so much charm to it. The early 3D models are simple but effective, the music is phenomenal, and the game is always challenging but fair. The levels were also unique and memorable. The introductory level, Bomb Battlefield, allows the player to explore a large 3D environment without worrying about falling to their death. You also have great themed levels like Lethal Lava Land and Shifting Sandland. But there's one level in Super Mario 64 that is unlike any other. A level that sucks the joy out of the player. A level that has a negative aura around it. That level is Wet Dry World. A few years ago, I saw a Mario iceberg image, and one of the topics on the iceberg was Wet Dry World Negative Emotional Aura. I had beaten Mario 64 countless times by this point, so I was used to the game. Wet Dry World had become just another level to me, but after reading those few words, I was transported back to the first time I played Super Mario 64, and I remembered how uncomfortable Wet Dry World made me feel at the time. I then noticed a lot of other people on the internet felt the same way I did, so in today's video I want to take a look at Wet Dry World and try to figure out what causes its negative emotional aura. The negativity begins even before you're inside the level. The entrance painting features a Skeeter, and I never realized this until I was making this video, but the Skeeter's eyes are sad in the image. Although these droopy eyes are a part of Skeeter's design, it's still pretty interesting that Nintendo chose this depressing enemy for Wet Dry World's painting design, as the first impression we get from this level is now a negative one. I think the first aspect that puts people in a bad mood once they enter the level is the color palette used for Wet Dry World. The level is just filled with the most industrial grays and browns. It feels like I'm in a factory and the level is trying its hardest to break my spirit. The level feels oppressive. The rest of Mario 64's main levels are bright, colorful, and inviting. The only exceptions to this besides Wet Dry World is Hazy Maze Cave and Big Boo's Haunt. However, I feel like Big Boo's Haunt has such a strong level theme with its haunted house, so it feels exciting to explore because of all the different creepy things you can find. The same with Hazy Maze Cave. Although that level is also dark and mysterious, there is still an air of discovery to it with many exciting things to uncover. Wet Dry World, on the other hand, lacks a strong recognizable level theme. If I asked you what Wet Dry World's level theme is, you would probably say it's the level where you move the water up and down. It feels like Nintendo was just using Wet Dry World to test a game mechanic, and we're not actually worried about giving Wet Dry World its own distinct level theme. This makes the level feel unimportant compared to the rest. Wet Dry World does, however, contain one of the best secrets in the game. If the player passes over this grate, either by jumping over it or using the cannon, and then swims for an overly long period of time, they find this flooded town. I remember when I first played Super Mario 64, I was shocked by this discovery. The town feels so out of place for Mario 64. The environments you explore in this game always feel otherworldly, so when I found the flooded town, I felt a sense of familiarity, which surprisingly made me feel uncomfortable. I think this discomfort is caused by the lack of life in this area. There are skeeters to fight, but besides them, the town has been abandoned. The flooded town feels like a liminal space. I'm guessing most of you know what a liminal space is, but for those who don't, a liminal space is an empty area or place that is in a transitional phase, and this makes the area feel eerie, surreal, or uncanny. So for example, imagine a photo of an abandoned shopping mall. The lights are all on, but there are no shoppers or people working at the mall. And I feel like the flooded town gives that feeling of a liminal space. So many questions arise when you're in this part of the game. Why is there a little village in Mario 64? Who lived here? What happened to everyone? And sadly, like most things in Mario, we get no explanations. What makes this section even creepier is that the flooded town matches the skybox for Wet Dry World. The skybox for Wet Dry World is a town submerged in water. The way the skybox foreshadows the flooded town is very eerie, and it gives the level a sort of post-apocalyptic feeling to it, like this village was destroyed by a natural disaster, and now Mario is exploring the ruins. It gives this feeling of death, loss, and emptiness, which translates to the player and causes them to have subconscious negative emotions. The music for this level is the same theme found in Hazy Maze Cave. The theme works great for Hazy Maze Cave because it elicits this feeling that the player is spelunking underground. Hazy Maze Cave is a level that is claustrophobic, mysterious, and a little suffocating, and the player might think of these traits when listening to the specific theme. So now by putting that same theme with Wet Dry World, the player associates Wet Dry World with those same claustrophobic, dangerous, and suffocating feelings they felt in Hazy Maze Cave. As I stated before, the level feels industrial and impressive, and the theme continues this feeling of uneasiness. The last aspect I want to discuss is how a lot of enemies in this level bully you. Heave-hoes and chuck-yas do not directly injure the player, but instead, they pick up Mario and launch him. The player is able to manipulate how heave-hoes throw Mario, but if you're unlucky, another heave-ho might launch you before you can regain control of Mario. This mechanic can get very frustrating when trying to use heave-hoes to get higher up in the level. It feels like the enemies in this level don't take you seriously by the way they just toss you around. You no longer feel like a heroic plumber battling fearsome creatures, but a child being bullied by a group of older kids. I feel the negative emotional aura for this level, gameplay-wise, comes from the player losing agency when dealing with these enemies that can just chuck you around. So, these are my reasons on why I believe Wet Dry World contains a negative emotional aura around it. If you agree with my assessment, or if you have any other ideas on why this level is so cursed, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching everyone, and take care.